Most interesting thing in tech, the Future of Life Institute, which has for a long time been warning about the risks of AI, has put out a scorecard ranking the biggest AI companies on how well they do at preventing risks. How open are they about what they're doing? How many checks are there if they do harm or their model does harm? What is their governance? Do they deal with existential risk? There are, I think, 7 categories, and the scores are not entirely surprising. In first place, with a C+, is Anthropic, followed by OpenAI, followed by Google's Gemini, big drop there, and then a very big drop when you get down to XAI, and then the Chinese models, DeepSeek paired Meta's model. So not good scores across the board. It's not that surprising. The Future of Life Institute is quite critical of these companies, but there are some very interesting things. One, none of the companies actually has a plan for existential risk. The founders talk about existential risk. Elon Musk talks about it all the time. X does not have any plan, like the auditors and the rankers, which are a very sophisticated group, could ascertain or find. There is nothing that says, hey, if we find out there's a real problem with alignment that could threaten humanity, we'll stop or we'll go backwards. There is not any set specific rules at any of these companies. That's pretty bad, particularly how much they talk about it. Now, one could argue that the only reason these companies talk about existential risk is kind of marketing, the whole dystopia as marketing idea that you make AI seem really scary, it'll make the companies more powerful, but actually, I kind of think the companies do believe there's existential risk, and so therefore, this finding is kind of unsettling. Some other things. I didn't know, for example, that Anthropic in August changed its policies. It used to be that it didn't train on your data. When you type in a question, you type in something, it doesn't feed that back into the model to give the model the training data. It's changed its policies unless you opt out. It was marked down for that. I was also surprised that the Chinese companies, to some degree, have better controls than the American companies. The state has said that you need to have watermarking, you need to have specific policies in place, the models can harm. That's kind of interesting. It's amazing that, at least to some degree, the Chinese models are doing better than the American models. But the bottom line, companies talk a lot about safety, talk a lot about risk, talk a lot about preventing it, talk a lot about really big things, but they're in such a headlong race to infinite wealth and to AGI that they're not doing that much about it. See you tomorrow.